to extend to everyone here in the city of San Angelo, while we're a little bit tired, we're very strong and resilient. We thank everyone for being here. And to start this meeting, I'm going to turn it over to Rick Bacon, who's going to do the prayer of the pledge. Come with me, Sam. Pray with me.
Father, we come to you today. We just humble ourselves before you, thanking you for being the wonderful and great God that you are. Father, we want to lift up all those that have been affected by the recent flooding. Father, we thank you for those that responded, those that have come and helped, Father, taken out of their own time and away from their families to help restore this community. Father, we just want to ask your blessings and your comfort for all the ones that have lost things through this flood. And as we rebuild, Father, just pray that everything will go smoothly and everything will be back to normal in as short a time as possible. We want to lift up our elected officials with the city, the county, state, and also our federal, especially Congressman Pfluger. We appreciate his attendance here. We thank you, Father, for him and the work that he does for us in Washington. We ask, Father, that you just forgive us where we have failed you. We thank you for loving us. We thank you for who you are. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen. Texas pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I will just pick this up. That's an amazing sound when you get to see and hear the Pledge of Allegiance that loud and corporately like that. It's truly amazing. Thank you all. I'm Judge Carter here in Tom Green County, and I have the pleasure of introducing Congressman Pfluger. He is not only our congressman, but our friend. He is in his third term, and one thing I want to touch on off the script of the bio is his chairmanship of the Republican Study Committee. We had the honor and pleasure of hearing the updates from the study committee while we were in D.C. for the retreat that he hosted for the Congressional Baseball game. And it is truly amazing on what they are doing today and for us through this term. Congressman Pfluger, he represents 20 counties in Texas. We have 254 counties, so that is a large region, a large geographical span. So he is constantly traveling, looking out for the best interests for our congressional district. And also one thing that I want to touch on is his response during the flood of July 4th was truly outstanding. He made it back from D.C. Mayor Thompson and I took him on a tour of the affected areas and got to see just the devastation. His response, working with FEMA at the federal level, got us our IA and our PA declaration within days. That deserves a round of applause. I want to thank you personally, Congressman. Thank you for that response. It truly means a lot to us. And with further ado, Congressman Pfluger.
Well, it's good to see everybody today. Thank you for coming out here. There's a lot of information to get out. I'm sure there's no questions, but we will entertain a few. And but only hard questions if you don't mind today. What the judge just said is absolutely right, but not about me. It's about the local level. It's about the state level. We endured a pretty devastating flood here. And also in some other counties that I represent. And I want to recognize some people before we get started with anything that truly made our community shine in a way that it has always shown like this, but really brought out the best in our community. And you hate to think that tragedies do that, but they do at times. Where we come together where people forget about everything else except for how they can help one another. What our local leaders did, what Judge Lane Carter, Mayor Tommy Thompson, Sheriff Hannah, Police Chief, what everybody did here. I like that ring. What they did, and what our volunteer organizations did, nonprofits, and what just normal neighbors, just living next to each other did, deserves a lot of credit. So I'm going to hand the microphone to Kathy Key. Kathy is helping in my office here, just around the corner on 2. Does a wonderful job of representing you. And if you need help with any federal agency, with the VA, with Social Security, the IRS, with any agency at all, Kathy and Karen Kirkendall are always at the ready, are constantly helping people. And I want to hand it over to Kathy to bring some folks up, and I'm going to hand some certificates to them because they truly deserve our praise. Kathy?
So there's like Congressman said, there's a couple of organizations that we'd like to recognize, and so when I call your name, if you would come to the front and accept this recognition from the Congressman. Tom Green County, accepted by Judge Lane Carter. The City of San Angelo, accepted by Mayor Tom Thompson. The Community Organizations Active in Disaster, or COAD, accepted by Cameron Cummings. The Gray Creek Volunteer Fire Department, accepted by Chief Aaron Flint. The Water Valley Volunteer Fire Department, accepted by Chief Jonathan Martin. The Wall Volunteer Fire Department, accepted by Chief John Manera. The East Concho Volunteer Fire Department, accepted by Chief Dennis Thompson. The Quail Valley Volunteer Fire Department, accepted by Chief Shane Trim. And the Dove Creek Volunteer Fire Department, accepted by Chief Chavez Santos.
Kathy, thank you very much. These men and women are first responders, law enforcement, those that serve in our community, save lives. They save lives during this tragic flood. They don't do this for recognition. They don't show up because they think they're going to get a certificate. They show up because they love this community and they want everybody to be safe at all times. But on this day, we do want to give them not just a certificate, but our praise, our thanks. This isn't just from Tom Green County or from San Angelo, Texas. I represent 20 counties, 750,000 people. And today, on behalf of all 750,000 people, we want to tell you thank you and job. take one or two questions on the flood response, if there were any. And I'll give you 60 seconds. The 20 counties that I represent, half were declared as federal disasters. Half of them. Several that were not even declared as federal disasters, Ector and Midland, experienced loss of life. So when you think about half of these, what the state and local representatives did, and we obviously know that down in Kirk County, which does not represent Kirk County, horrible, tragic, and experienced something that I hope we never experience in our lifetime. But the response has been incredible. The FEMA director called me immediately, multiple times on the phone, and I said to Mr. Richardson, we've got a tragic loss, a devastating loss of facilities, of homes, of property, of life. What do you need, Congressman? What can we do to help? What can we do to be there to assist? As the state and local first responders that you just witnessed were already doing their job. As Cameron Cummings already had a resource center set up at Paul Ann Church within 4 hours of the flood here in Tom Green County. That's the response that we got. The Homeland Security Secretary was here not once, but twice. 24 hours after, and then another 6 days after. Multiple phone calls, multiple conversations to me to ask, what do you need? And I said, we need help. We need to declare these areas, these counties as disasters. My team came down from Washington, D.C. and knocked on over 1,000 doors alongside community members to understand what kind of damage was done at homes and at property here. So the response, I gotta say, was unparalleled. It was incredible. I'll be happy to take any questions on that, and then I'm gonna move on. Yes, ma'am. And if you don't mind, just name and where you're from.
Sure. Britta Todd, I live here in San Angelo, Texas. And luckily my house did not flood during July 4th, but many of my fellow military families' houses in Pauline did flood, and I was there that morning with them. And the FEMA designation has been great to get them some resources, but the Trump administration is now sending $650 million of FEMA money to build concentration camps like Alligator Alcatraz out of FEMA money, instead of using that to support your constituents who are displaced from flooding. So in your conversations with the Homeland Security Secretary, have you discussed that the better use of those FEMA funds is for your constituents who are still in temporary lodging and can't get back into their houses, instead of things like Alligator Alcatraz?
Thank you for the question. The statement is false, that there is money that's being redirected and not put towards disaster response. That's categorically false. So hold on. So that is categorically false. A concentration camp? Guys, are we kidding? I mean, a concentration camp? Any World War II vets in here?
I'm a World War II
Any World War II
Navy
veterans in here?
daughter.
Do we have any World War II veterans?
I'm a daughter too. I'm a World War II. And my father, they're located.
So the response of getting people what they need, I think, has been unparalleled in the speed. And as you mentioned and acknowledged, that they immediately declared that disaster.
Yes, and that was great.
Okay, so we can talk about war security. I'd love to, but many conversations with the Homeland Security Secretary about getting the right funds to the right people at the right time, but not in some like shuffling or trading of money. And so the assertion that $650 billion was sent somewhere else instead of to the military personnel that live in Paul Ann is not true. That is completely false. So let's move on to what the facts are. That we have 9 counties that are federal disasters for the property that you just mentioned that need that money, Texas has also declared multiple additional counties that I represent as state disasters. So that money is getting to the people that it needs to. And, oh, by the way, if you have a specific issue or the assistance hasn't gotten to you, where's Kathy and Karen? As I mentioned, this is what they do every single day. So I hope you'll follow up with this. Next question. Yes, ma'am.
We're not saying that the money didn't get to where it needs to go.
That's what she said. She did.
Well, let me,
So let's
let
be
me
clear.
clarify what a lot of people I talk to are talking about is that why do you need to send that money over to Alcatraz when people here need that FEMA money? Whether it's now or in the future, that's money that's really wasted as far as the people concerned. It's for us and not to be sending over there for Alcatraz or whatever reason that is for.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I don't, it's not for now.
Well, it looks like we're going to get right into this debate. So over the past 4 years, from 2021 to the end of 2024, we had almost 15 million people come into this country illegally. Okay, released into the interior illegally. Hold on. We want to have a discussion here. The question, as I heard, mostly a statement that there was a question of why do we need to send money there, and I'll tell you why. Because we had almost 15 million people come to this country illegally. Okay, so it's not true is what this lady's saying. But I sat there and talked to Secretary Mayorkas multiple times and asked him this question, so I'll tell you exactly why we need that facility. As he was sitting next to Christopher Wray, under oath, testifying in front of the Homeland Security Committee, I asked both gentlemen this: are there people inside the United States of America that match the terror watch list that you don't know where they are? And the answer to that question from our FBI Director, Christopher Wray, was yes. Mr. Secretary, where are those people? No clue. 300 plus people matched the terror watch list. In the preceding 8 years, less than 40 people. In all of the preceding 8 years, that's 4 of Obama and 4 of Trump. Then Biden becomes president, 300 plus people matched the terror watch list. And many of whom were those people they did not know where they were in the United States. The only response we got from the Biden administration during that time, which President Biden said in a debate, which Secretary Mayorkas said during his impeachment hearing in my committee. I was a manager on that committee of that impeachment. And he said, we need more money. And you need to pass new laws. False. We did. On January 21st of this year, President Trump took over. And magically, the border somehow became secure. In fact, last month, not a single person was released into the interior of the United States of America who came here illegally. Not one. I don't know about this one, but I take border security very seriously. I take it very seriously because of Laken Riley, because of Jocelyn Nungray. And you want to know what's shameful? When I sat there during the State of the Union this year, and Jocelyn's parents were there, and Laken Riley, who was in nursing school in Georgia, whose parents were in the gallery, and the president acknowledged them. They were murdered, brutally murdered by illegal immigrants who were not here legally, who didn't go through the right pathway, who, in addition to being here illegally, also committed additional crimes. Not a single one of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle had the decency to even stand up for them when their parents were acknowledged. That's not West Texas.
Then why are you arresting
That's
migrants in the
Texas.
fields and people who are working
Ma'am,
and people in the courts
do you mind
who are
stating-
going through it the right
Do
way?
you mind stating your name? If you're going to ask a question, do you mind stating your name and where you're from?
Yvette Sherman.
Yvette, sure, where are you from?
I'm from here in San Angelo.
Okay.
I've been for 20, almost 30 years.
Okay, thank you, Yvette. So, I take border security very seriously. There's a right legal way to do it. People have been coming to this country for many decades legally, correctly. And they've been doing so following law and order. And in the previous 4 years, we had a complete deconstruction of the rule of law when it comes to our border. We had a complete deconstruction and unwillingness. We didn't need new legislation. We didn't pass any new legislation before the border became secure. And we didn't need new money.
Then that's on y'all for not getting this straight, where people can come into this place legally and do it properly.
I'll take one more question and then we're going to move on. And guys, I will open it back up for questions.
My name is Pedro P. Reese. I hope to be your opponent in the next election. Thank you. Being here, Congressman, I appreciate it because a lot of your other Republicans don't have the courage to face a crowd like this. But you do it. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your service in the United States as a congressman. Okay? What I'm going to say is, I am a son of an illegal immigrant. We actually had to go to Mexico for 2 years to get his papers, and when he came over, we worked the fields. Since I was little, we were working the fields. Why don't we acknowledge?
But why did you have to go back to Mexico?
Because he got deported, and we had to go back to wait to hear the day.
To do it legally.
Yes, legally, you're right. But I want you to.
The point is.
Well, no. Let me make a point. Not what I hear from you is how the immigrants are just killers and rapists and all this other stuff. Everybody in here, right, is an American, and we have Americans that actually do the same kind of thing. Why don't we acknowledge that I am a mental health therapist, I have a master's degree, my brother, sitting in that chair, is a communications expert for 40 years, my other brother owns a flight airline company, and my sister helped her husband build a successful surgical clinic. Why don't we acknowledge people who come over here and say, you guys did a good job, instead of we need immigrants to help this country stronger. My question is, why don't we focus on that? I get the illegal immigrants, I get it, okay, I was part of it.
Well, sir,
you're right, we should be
let me just ask you a question. This is our first agreement call. So when you became a mental health therapist, you just signed the paperwork, right? And you were good?
No.
Oh, you had to go.
I get where you're coming from, I do.
But I want to flip
my father did it the right way.
Your father?
Yes,
So
but
he taught you that it,
right.
you have to do it the
What
right
I'm
way.
saying is,
Okay.
we should focus on the good, not so that scare people by telling them that these immigrants are all killers and rapists, because that's not
First off, I never said that.
No, you didn't. But you already have. The president has. Yeah, but thank you for letting me answer the question. I appreciate it. And folks, Pedro P. Reese, I will be hopefully your opponent. We have two of us. He wasn't here today. And like I said, I'm going to be cordial as far as the campaign. Because I do have respect. That's what we got to remember, folks. We must have respect when we do things. Okay, thank you, Congressman.
I live in Ventura County, California. I grew up here in San Angelo.
Ma'am, I will take your questions, but the reason that I wanted to know where people are from was because the constituents that live here, that vote here, that have, a town hall for them need to be recognized. So I'm going to take it, but I also said I was going to
I
move.
teach the children
I
of
also
the
said I was
field
going to move on,
workers.
so
I live
I'll
10
let you-
minutes from the field workers. They are
You're gonna
honest,
okay, we're
good
going to get
people.
one notice. We're going to get one notice.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd let me speak.
No, I'm being fair to everybody. We're going to have one
Well,
notice.
I'd like to speak
So,
here.
I will come to.
I know where I live, where these people work and live, they're good people. These are crime against these people.
When we're speaking of decency, I think it would be nice to have
They're
some
picking your
decency.
crops, feeding you.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to move on to the next subjects because I do have a lot of stuff to cover. It's not just about border security, although that's a huge piece of it. And I will come back to those that are residents and live in Tom Green County or San Angelo, or if you're from the district anyway. I see you, ma'am. I will come back. I will come back to you. But ma'am, I'm gonna move on to the next piece of this. I want to talk about.
Listen to the people's concerns.
I'm gonna move. I'm going to move on.
We're not here to hear you. We're here to hear Tom.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You hear that? You hear that? That's what we praying for. Let the lady speak.
And I want to say, like, it was my father who set up the Carr Scholarship in this town. He was Mr. Carr's CPA, and my father, Marvin Hall Jr., made a tremendous impact in this community. The Carr Scholarship is allowed for Angelo State to become a part of the Texas Tech community. So even though I may not be a resident here, my family was very important to this community. And I think it behooves you to let me speak to address what is being done to these people whose families have worked very hard to stick their cross and feed 40% of the United States.
I'm going to ask you to take a seat.
Yeah, well, I mean, then I've had my say.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much.
Thank y'all.
I can tell this is a feisty crowd.
Yeah.
I like it. That's what makes San Angelo great, right?
Thank you.
So, that's what makes Texas great. We've got a fighting spirit, okay? We also have a spirit of decency, okay? And I'd be glad to sit down and be lectured by anybody.
Please let her speak. She's 92 years old. Let her speak.
Ma'am, I'm gonna get to it, okay? I'm gonna get to it.
Okay.
There's an agenda here, and there's also, like the law and order I was talking about, we're gonna have some order.
Fascists!
Okay? And we will not, we're not gonna get to anything if we keep having these outbursts. So, let's.
And you are supposed to listen.
Okay. Ma'am, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I want to hear from you.
No, but they're asking for you to speak, so.
Well, I am 91 years old. I worked on the border in Arizona.
Will you tell us your name, ma'am?
It's Mary W. Mully.
Nice to meet you.
And you're, you know, the age of my children, so I'm speaking.
Might be younger than
You don't have more judges. You get more control. You get massages. Oh, I told them well, Trump told them not to get their act together and stop fighting.
Well, we ought to get our act together, is for sure. Yes. I think we agree on that.
Right. But sir, why is everybody in Congress voting with their party instead of listening to our needs?
Hold on. Okay. You've asked a question, so will y'all let me respond? Yes. Is that okay? Can we have this back before? I agree. We ought to get our act together. Okay. I've passed almost 10 bills through the House floor, many of this year. That's the most of any congressman in the country. Every single one of them was bipartisan. Every single bill was bipartisan. Just last week. Just last week.
Did they pass?
Yes, they passed. They've been signing the law. They've been signing the law. Okay? Let me tell you about the ACES Act. Let me tell you about the ACES Act. Okay?
We read about your successes in your newsletter.
Get in our, I'm sorry?
We read about your successes in your newsletter. So.
And what's your name?
My name's China.
Okay. Thank you. So you know that every. No, but ma'am, let me respond.
I'm 91 years old.
I am very respectful of you, and I appreciate your question, and I agree with you that we should get our act together. But I want to tell you about a couple of things that we've done. I serve on the Energy and Commerce Committee. We have passed 43 bills out of the committee and to the House floor, and they've all been bipartisan. Every single one of them have been bipartisan. But that's not reported. And instead we hear these terms fascist, and we have a concentration camp. That's not helpful, y'all.
No,
that's not the truth.
building a concentration
They
camp.
are, they are.
It's a concentration camp.
Hold on. That's not the truth.
It is.
It is the truth. No, no. that's
Listen,
not. Are we gonna have a respectful conversation or not?
you need to listen.
You can't listen.
Are we gonna have a respectful conversation or not?
If you'll listen,
Sir, she's 91 years old and I listened to her. And I let her speak.
you're still speaking. Listen to people. You don't listen. You talk too much.
Y'all don't want to hear the facts. What I'm hearing you say is you just don't want to talk. And that's fine. That's okay. If that's what we want to get out of this, that's fine. Okay? But if you'd like to hear some of the things that we've done, then I'd like to tell you about it. Okay? And I'll tell you, anybody heard of this little base called Goodfellow Air Force Base? Yeah. Okay. You know who's coming this afternoon? Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Raisin King.
Is Santa coming next? We don't care. We all have the news.
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs is coming. We worked in a bipartisan way to pass the NDAA, to get the funding for our military that we need, to make sure that we can recapitalize. I'm a veteran. How many veterans in the room? Thank you for your service. To get the appropriate funding. In fact, as part of this one big beautiful bill that we passed.
Oh, no.
You voted for that.
Let me ask you a question about that, please.
No, sir, you're not recognized. You've had several outbursts, and that's not going to happen.
Fine, you worked well into the
So
night
let's
to
talk
push
about
that
this.
bill, but you couldn't work.
Let's
You couldn't
talk
work for
about
us
the-
late into the night.
let's-
You had to hold this in the afternoon on a Monday when everyone else was at work. You worked in the midnight.
Let's talk about the provisions of this one big beautiful bill.
No, it's not.
No, you want to hear it? You want to hear it? Okay. I've got several people who said they do want to hear it. Okay? Because we have energy provisions. We've talked about some of the border provisions. We actually, on the healthcare piece of this, we are saving Medicaid for the people that it was deserved for. 100%. Okay? And let me tell you.
How many children are getting cut off? Did they deserve to get cut off?
100% in the state of Texas. And actually, I see my high school English teacher here, whose son I worked with very, very closely. And by the way, when I'm speaking, I'm actually nervous because she taught me grammar, and sometimes it's not the best. So, Ms. Holland, I'm sorry. I'm trying. I really am. But I worked with Ms. Holland's son, who is a professional in the healthcare industry. Okay? We may not see eye to eye on political issues, but Ms. Holland's son and I, and many others, we talked about the provisions for Medicaid that Texas needs. Anybody know what the expansion population is? Okay, so for those that want to know, for Medicaid, it was designed for those who are disabled, it was designed for children, it was designed for the elderly, it was designed for pregnant women. In the state of Texas, that population remains the same. Medicaid delivers to those groups of people that I just said. In 41 other states, however, they expanded that population to work, and this gentleman right here mentioned work. It was expanded to those in the working age demographic. So think 18 to 64, okay? 41 states, 41 states. As part of this bill, raise your hand. I don't need you to say anything. If you believe that we were meant to not work, raise your hand. Raise your hand.
No, it's just, no.
That's the first one I've got.
How many jobs don't have healthcare?
This bill requires people to go back to work for 80 hours a month. That's 20 or so a week. You can volunteer, you can look for a job. Ms. Holland's son and I discussed this provision along with many of the other provisions that Texas needs. Rural health care was at the foremost of my thought as we drafted this bill. If you want those benefits, we are saying as a country that you need to get into that labor force, back into the workforce. You've been lied to and told that you should stay at home. That's not true. That's not true. Only one person raised their hand that said that we weren't meant to work. We're all meant to do something. We're all meant to do something. Let's talk about the tax provisions, because I'll be interested to see what you guys think about these tax provisions.
I worked for 17 years in Medicaid on the nursing home side, but was friends with food stamps and Medicaid. There's always been a work requirement.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, there has. Yes, there has.
That is false.
No, you're wrong.
This was the first work requirement that was ever passed. It was the first work requirement that was ever passed for Medicaid, 100%. It matches up with, it matches up.
That is not true.
Can you say your name, please?
My name is Irene Martinez.
Okay, Irene Martinez.
I'm a military spouse.
Irene, thank you.
You're a liar.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would be happy for somebody to show me that provision, but it doesn't exist because it has never existed.
Then you let it
And this is
exist
the
through
first work
Medicaid.
requirement that we have had, and it's tied to these benefits. Let's talk about the tax benefits here, okay? In the district that I represent, for a family who makes an average of $67,000 a year, this bill is delivering $1,400 back into your pockets. If you work in the service industry, you have no tax on tips.
Until
If you are a
2028.
senior, if you are a senior,
That's temporary.
88, okay, that's temporary?
That's temporary. Until 2028.
The billionaires? Let's talk about the people, let's talk about the people who deserve it.
Oh,
Let's talk about those that are serving in restaurants. Let's talk about those who receive tips. Let's talk
I
about.
can't stand you lying here.
No.
So, I hope you have a good campaign. Thank you.
Hey, thank you
Let's
for
talk about overtime.
Thank you.
If you receive, does anybody work overtime in here? Nobody?
Just a small bit of time.
Most people don't allow it.
What industry do you work in? Healthcare? When you work overtime now, you have no tax on that overtime. Who receives tips in this room?
But it's added at the end of the year,
No
so
tax.
we're gonna pay taxes on it.
Nobody works for taxes probably here. They're working.
But I mean, 213 an hour base
Yeah,
pay.
it's when you scheduled this meeting.
That's all the taxes you're already taking out. That's all my
Yeah, there's some.
Healthcare question. 213 an hour and then tips.
Anybody have a small business in this room?
Right here.
Okay, you know what a 199A provision is?
No, I don't.
You don't?
I do not.
Okay, well, as of today, as of July 4th, when it's assigned to the law, sir, you, with a small business, assuming it's less than $400,000 a year, get to deduct 20% of the revenues, the annual revenues that you make, to recapitalize your business, to grow your business, to hire more employees.
For how long?
For how long?
How long is that in effect?
Permanent.
And
It's
how many
permanent.
other things do I have to pay for that you're offsetting with that?
So, this is an example. He has a small business and he's not familiar with the 199A provision, although it does benefit him. And he's gonna get to do that for infinity. It's a permanent provision.
And the other
And
part of my
I
question?
can go line by line.
Yeah, what about the tariffs that are gonna reduce the income that's coming in? Because people aren't gonna have much money to spend.
Okay, how are we reducing income? How is the government?
Because less
reducing
money's flowing in people's pockets.
Okay.
25%
That's
less
false
than what
because
it's like.
that is not true. That
How is it
true.
not true?
Okay.
We're seeing across the
What
board where
Democrats, let me tell you what Democrats voted for. They
we're not talking about we're not splitting, we're not dividing. We're all people in
We
here.
didn't win. Democrats didn't
We're
win.
all
It doesn't
people.
matter.
Let's have this conversation. Okay?
We're all people.
Because I see a philosophy here that is against the 199A provision. It is against no tax on tips. It is against overtime pay. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You know how many Democrats voted to have no tax on tips? Guys, give me a show of hands.
Because it was
Was it 10?
temporary.
Was it 15?
And it's
No.
it's
temporary.
Zero. It's zero. Okay? It's zero.
And it was performative.
It's zero. Performative. Performative.
Yeah.
We're talking
When I'm
permanency
at
on
$213 an hour
taxes.
and I live off the tips, you're telling me I
Well,
will only not be
If you
taking.
don't mind, where do you work?
I worked at the grill.
Okay. And so, do you still work there?
I pick up when I can.
Okay. And you get tipped?
Occasionally, I mean,
Okay.
now they're putting it back into the paychecks, but it used to be you could walk away with it, but you still claimed
the
it,
law
and
of
you
the
still
land-
got payroll tax, and it still got withheld, so the baseline case, you never ever.
That was
see-
July 3rd and before. On July 4th, which
The
is
payroll tax,
retroactive.
the payroll, all those withholdings
If
are
you-
still
if you
in
will let me-
effect, and
if
they
you
will
let me
continue
finish.
to be in effect, because I just read about this last night to make
Okay.
sure that I had my facts.
This is a great crowd, by the way. Look, we may have a difference of opinion on what the law says, but as of January 1st, ma'am, at the grill, when you go back there, retroactive, because of what we passed on July 4th that was signed into law, your tips are non-taxable. That's good. That was good. That was some of our base, our military taxes. Very good. So, yes, sir, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Just a minor point on this. When they say, you're saying, oh, there's no more taxes on tips. But, yes, you still are taxed for Social Security. You still are taxed for Medicaid. So you're trying to make this out as one big, wonderful benefit.
But
Okay?
sir, there are no
And the
tax
only
interruptions.
thing- And the only portion that applies with this tax is the federal income tax. Now, if you want us to talk
No, it's-
specifics, if you
Sir,
make
it's specific to tips.
$600,
There's no tax on
if you make
tips.
$600 a week, okay, and half of that is in tips, then you're going to save $30 in taxes, not $1,500, not thousands of dollars. And the problem that I see is that I have no doubt at all that you fiercely believe all of these things that you're saying. The problem is that you are misinformed.
I do fiercely believe it because I helped write the bill. I read the words.
So then you know what you're doing.
So if you want to debate whether or not there's no tax on tips and how much money, let's do that.
And what happens in 2028 when it
We
is?
just did, you lost.
Well, if you elect a Republican, it might get renewed. Well, it's gonna end it. Well, you wouldn't have it now if Biden was in office, so.
That's not true. They both promised no tax on tips. That was a campaign promise from both sides.
So why are you arguing against it? Exactly. You should be
Guys, calm down. I'm gonna go right back to this. Hey, everybody, take a deep breath. Ma'am, I'm sorry, you've already asked the question. Let's calm it down, okay? Let's calm things down.
Tell the truth.
Okay, well, the truth has been told, but unfortunately we can't finish the sentence here. But let me start with, let me just kind of say this, okay? And I'm going to go to this gentle lady right back here, okay? If you don't love this country, raise your hand right now. Seriously, I love this country. Raise your hand if you love this country. Okay? Thank you. You know what is beautiful about this state? You know what? Hold on. Quit. Just stop.
I'm supporting you.
Just stop.
You're right.
Just stop. Everybody. You know what's beautiful about this country? What is actually beautiful is that you can get an elected official up here. You can yell at him and call him a liar. You can talk. You can say whatever you want. That's beautiful.
I agree.
It is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, liar, liar, liar.
The freedom of speech is amazing. This country is special. This country is beautiful. Everybody came together during the floods. When I was talking about that, there was no animosity. There was no hatred. There was no anger. Everybody came together in this community. Okay, forget what we think of the federal government and all that. Okay, but when I started talking, when I brought those volunteer fire departments up here, you know what was really beautiful to see is that a crowd that is so divided on policy issues was so united.
We like heroes.
Everybody came together. That is a beautiful thing, okay? I can tell that we're not going to have very substantive policy debates today. That's okay. Well, what I want to tell you is I appreciate the fact that we live in a country where we can have these debates, where we can talk about the things that we believe in, where our passions can come through. And that is the very First Amendment. That's the very most important thing. I will come to you, but I'm going to go right back to this gentleman right here. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. First of all, I need to thank you. I know everybody's divided on different things here, but I want to thank you because as an attorney who works in elder law, when I have a problem with somebody, because I assist elderly people going on to Medicaid, and to go, I love it. And when we're looking at the problems that are coming out of the big beautiful bill, part of it is that right now, the state of Texas isn't funding workers. They can't even find them because the work conditions are so stressful that a normal application that takes 45 days is now taking up to a year. Under the big beautiful bill, we're going to have to reapply for Medicaid every 6 months. We can't even get the first application heard. Now, when I have contacted your office, specifically
you're talking about people that are on Medicaid.
Trying to get onto Medicaid.
They're already on it.
They can't even get on it, is the point. And so when I contact your office, your amazing staff, and I don't care whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, his staff rock. Yes, but not a single time. I've literally had Kathy Keene walk somebody down wherever they are in Washington to try and figure something out. But here's what we're up against. And I'm going to ask for your help, for all of us, because, look at the demographic of San Angelo. We're aging. I'm aging. We're getting to a point where access to the things we're talking about is very difficult because we just don't have the manpower. And the president just signed an executive order this week that said, having to do with involuntary mental commitments, we're going to round up drug users and the homeless and those who are mentally ill, and we're going to put them somewhere. I know we don't, when I work with the county judge and I work with Shannon, we don't have anywhere because even though we have, like at the State Supported Living Center, we have buildings, we don't have funding to man them or to fix them. And I'm here to ask you if that's what's coming. And, it's been a long time coming trying to figure out something. But as that is worked through, we need you. I mean, this community and this small community, we need you to do what you have done so many times for the people in my caseload, to do this for this change that's coming, because it's going to hit the courts, it's going to hit the DA's office, it's going to hit the county attorney's offices, it's going to hit the small claims courts. I mean, our JPs are going to have to do with civil commitments, and frankly, we don't have the manpower, we don't have the money for this, we don't have the placements, and we need you on this. And with all, quite frankly, the love for San Angelo that I've seen you give towards my clients, regardless of what party they're in, I'm asking for that same thing when it comes to trying to make what's coming come down the pipe. We need you for this. And I don't think anybody else can do it but you.
You're very kind with your words. I appreciate that, and you said something that is 100% true. When somebody calls our office, there's no party affiliation that's asked. It is, how can we help? What can we do? What agency are you having problems with? I'm a veteran. When I call the VA, at times I get put on hold. It's maddening, okay? But we don't ask a question about anything other than how can we help you? And you're right, Kathy and Karen did an amazing job. Those that deserve to have the benefits, that the benefits were designed for, I 100% truly believe that they are going to get a better level of service. And we will follow through to make sure that that is the case. And especially here in Texas, that's the case. I said I was going to go right over here.
Yes, this is another Medicaid question.
Okay.
Have you looked at how many hospitals and or nursing homes are going to close in your district?
Yes, ma'am, I sure have. Have you looked at how many hospitals, nursing homes, community health centers are going to close? None should close. The benefits in Texas haven't changed. Bradley Holland is my go-to expert as a CEO of a major hospital system. Nothing in Texas's Medicaid program is going to change except for services will be delivered to the people in a better way with more resources, because the expanded population in 41 other states is it has taken some of those resources and is getting moved back to pregnant women and elderly and those with disabilities and children. So when I stood up in our committee and said, hold on, rural health care is really important. The community health center that sits in Menard, Frontera, this is a really important facility that's delivering health care for Menard County and for Concho County and Mason has a similar facility. So not a single facility should close. Not a single facility should be impacted. And the people that I worked with who are all over the state of Texas, the hospital associations and the people that represent physicians and nurses and technicians, those that sit right here in San Angelo and Shannon, said, you guys passed a good bill. It's going to deliver to those that need health care the most. Rural health care is hard. Let me tell you another one of those 43 bills that was bipartisan. It has to do with mental health, has to do with telehealth, has to do with access to providers. In a bipartisan way, I led legislation that allows people to get onto a website quicker, allows them to have access to a provider faster. The gentleman that was here that says he's running against me is a mental health professional. I bet his business is going to double because of some of the legislation we've done where it's easier to get seen by a practitioner. It's really important. So to answer your question, no change in the state of Texas when it comes to Medicaid services should be seen other than a positive, better benefits situation. We'll go back to my former opponent.
In follow-up to that question, we're reading estimates, though, that in Texas, with the changes, there will be up to 2 million Texans dropped off. Where is that?
John Mark, those, as you wrote in the post to me and we responded to you, those estimates, I don't know who wrote those estimates. I haven't seen those, and they certainly are not correct.
Well, that's what I'm seeing in the press, so I just
Yeah,
want to ask.
I mean, CNBC? No. Because Fox News certainly didn't report that. So those estimates are not true. That Texas hospitals, as you know, THA, because I know you do some work with the medical industry and medical professionals. But as you know, they endorsed this bill, and they signed on to it because they know that these are the types of services that need to be delivered to the people that they were designed for. So, yes, sir.
I'm Ron Meeks from San Angelo. I have a tariff question. I'm looking at purchasing a $9,000 product from Japan. With 25% tariffs going in August 2nd, that product would go over more than $2,000. How does that help in the American consumer?
Ron, the trade deal that the administration is touting, I think, would lower those tariffs from 25%. I've got my chief of staff here, and I don't know the exact tariff level that Japan has agreed to. Do you know, John?
I think it's 10, but I'll have to double.
Okay. I think that the tariff level with Japan, just like the EU, which was agreed to this past weekend, is going to be 10%. The question was, how is that helping the American public? Okay, great question. Thank you. Every single country around the world, I was stationed in NATO, I wore NATO flags, patches on my shoulder. These ladies over here, maybe their spouses or themselves, if they were in the military, also were stationed abroad. Every single country, whether it's military or whether it's trade, has been taking advantage of this country for many decades. Many decades. And reordering this system because the WTO, any trade experts in the room? No? The WTO has zero process to adjudicate any sort of trade disputes, any sort of issues where one country or another is not taking or not being transparent. Japan is a perfect example. You know why Toyota produces their vehicles here in the United States? Because it's cheaper for them as a foreign country, foreign company, to produce here because they don't have those tariff rates. Because when American Chevrolets, GMCs, Fords, and other American-made vehicles are shipped to Japan, guess what the tariff is in non-tariff trade barriers? I mean, these are astronomical numbers in every single country. So how is it helping the American public? It's helping us because manufacturing is coming back to this country. Because 3M and Kohler, which are located just up the road in Brownwood, Texas, are going to expand their operations. Because Johnson & Johnson, any Johnson & Johnson employees in the room today? 2? 60 years, 60 plus years in this city that J&J is producing sutures and surgical products. When those are produced here in the United States and exported, our GDP will grow. When other countries and their companies come to this country and they don't have the same reciprocity, then they're taking advantage of us. I get it. The tariffs, if you look at it from a free trade, just purely free trade perspective, we want 0 tariffs, right?
And what's the
That's not
dynamic of lower competitive GDP?
But that's not the reality. The reality is that every other country around the world is tariffing us. Every other country around the world is putting non-tariff trade barriers.
Over competitive
on our trade.
GDP.
So,
What's that dynamic?
do you have any I'll take one more right here.
Hi, thank you.
Go ahead and say your name.
My name is Judy Fulgham, and I live here in San Angelo, and I'm a constituent of yours and a neighbor. I applaud your service in Congress and in the military because, as we can see going on here today, very few of us can stand up here and do what you're doing, and I do applaud you for that. But today I wanted to ask you to put yourselves in the shoes of a different military family than yours. And this family is hurting because their child was asked to leave the military despite a long record of commendable service. And my question to you today is, what steps will you take at the federal level?
Can you tell us the details of that, please?
I think everyone knows I don't want to put a label on people.
It's going to be hard for me to understand the question if I don't know the details.
I think you know. I hope you know. I don't use this label. I call them people. Some people call them transgender. But these people need you to take steps to reverse the discrimination and hostility that our troops are
First off, Judy, thank you, because I can see it took a lot of courage to ask that question. So thank you for making that statement. And maybe we can sit down and have a lengthy conversation to go over the exact details of this.
I'd like to hear your opinion.
My opinion?
For an answer, yes or no.
Well, let me tell you my opinion after serving for 25 years is that a meritocracy is the only way for service. Okay? I didn't ask questions when I went out to fly a combat sortie about where people were from, or what language they had, or what religion, or their preference on anything. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. And while I don't think that the military should be paying for surgeries or hormone therapy or things why, ma'am, that's not the job of the military to pay for that, okay? Quite frankly, it's not the job. The military needs people who are ready to go, who are well trained, who have the resources. This is not a social experiment. This is a war-fighting force. And the job of the military is to have the most lethal and ready men and women. And it doesn't matter what any of those demographics say or where they came from, as long as they're trained and ready. So that's really, we've gotten pretty far off track in the last few years, and we're getting back on the track here. And when you think about a fighting force, we don't want to use it. I don't want to. I've got a lot of time in combat. How many people actually face combat in this room? Okay, thank you for your service. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Humanity, compassion, empathy, those are important to me. Those are important to me as a person. So is doing a good job. So is being ready to go. but compassion and empathy as a commander. Any commanders in the room? Okay. Paula, Kelly? Oh, Paula, sorry. That's what I knew about.
Paula Kelly.
When we graduated together at the Air Force Academy. The number one job is to make sure that your unit is ready to go, which takes sympathy. It takes compassion. It takes understanding. But it also takes discipline.
Didn't they just
It-
make this woman who was so qualified leave because she was transgender?
I'm not sure about that case. I want to learn about the case that you told me. But let me just say, I will find out about that, okay? But I want everybody in this room to know something from me. Humanity is important. Growing up in West Texas taught me to respect everyone. It didn't teach me to be divisive. I know that it seems like...
How many more children need to die before you stop supporting war? That's my last question.
That's hold on. That's a perfect example. That's not how I was taught to come into a building. That's not how I was taught to have a dialogue. Okay? But your question is important to me, Judy. Okay? It is important that we look at this through a human lens. So I know that today that I sense that there are extreme frustrations with maybe the president, with maybe my positions on things,
pedophiles,
with so many different things. So I appreciate the fact that we can have this dialogue. I appreciate the fact that we can come into this room and you're right. There's not a whole lot of people who I think want to stand up here and take these questions or recall these things. But you know what? I love that flag so much that it's worth it. It's worth doing it. It's worth having these conversations. It's worth coming here and listening. At times, telling you, trying to tell you the facts about what we're doing. So, sir, I'm sorry. You've already had your chance. Thank you for coming here today. I'm going to Goodfellow right now. I'm going to ask some of these questions. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Raisin Kane, is going to be here. He's going to visit Goodfellow. He's going to look at what our professionals at Goodfellow Air Force Base are doing. He's going to take a tour and understand how intelligence gets trained here and then is delivered to our warfighters, regardless of their gender or any of the demographics. He's going to take a visit, and he's going to look at that. And I'm going to be there to brag about what San Angelo does as a community, what San Angelo does as a partnership with that base. I'll ask you one thing. Let's tone down our rhetoric. Let's tone down the way we speak to each other. Hold on, guys. You don't see me in Washington, D.C. calling people names. You don't see me doing it. Not me. That's right, man. You do not. And you've come to town hall before. You don't see me doing that. I was raised in this community in a way that was taught to treat people with respect, to ask questions, to have a debate, to have a dialogue, to be passionate, okay, and to adhere to law and order. And I would ask everyone, when you go home today, think about that. Think about that for just a second. You sent somebody to Congress that was raised right here in this community by many of you. I needed this very distinguished gentlelady to also help me as well. And I'll call upon you for some of the questions in the future.
Let me ask you, when you send out your newsletter, oh my God, I want to respond, but you have to go through, I don't know how many links to even get a message to you. We can't apply, like when I get from Ted Cruz and John Roman letters, I write y'all quite often, but I can't get them through you.
Well, you can go to my website, Pfluger.house.gov. There's a link on that email. I'm going to get you the phone number so you can call Kathy directly. Guys,
blood protecting Epstein.
Thank you for coming today. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for the passion. I can see it. I know there's more questions. Guys, I've already told you, I'm going to the base to see